Welcome back to the highly anticipated tier list. I promised that it was going to be coming out today, so here it is. Our last version was a few months ago, and it was right before the previous season. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but I like doing it after all the patches kind of happen, all the mid-season patches kind of happen, but I'm sensing a really big meta change coming in Shadow Legacy, so maybe I'll give you guys one at the start of Shadow Legacy as well. Just let me know what you guys want, of course. But yeah, we have two added operators here. We have Ace and Malusi, and I would like to change a few things that I did prior, but there's not going to be so many changes. I'm going to be going off the same ranking system, so S is a must pick, so it'll be the same as the last one that I did. Must pick are operators that should be picked basically every single round. Meta operators, these are going to be the operators that are always good in the game. It doesn't really mean that they're only good in this meta, but they're always good in basically every meta, and they'll always be good in every single meta. B are just good operators, good situationally is what I would like to emphasize, good situationally. C would be a rare pick, so this is very situational, like very situational. And D I would like to put under as in useless operators. And then of course broken, these are operators that in my opinion need to be reworked. Doesn't mean they're good, doesn't mean they're bad, but they do need a rework in some sort of way. So just before we start, I'm going to show you the previous one, but just remember guys, this is basically all opinion. I mean, this is coming from a ranked player, not a competitive player, so that might change. I'm in the plat range on PC, so that's really where my perspective is coming from. So if you're in gold or below or diamond, whatever it is, you probably have a little bit of different perception, but this should be kind of a generalization on what operators are good and what operators are bad. So I don't want too many hate comments because honestly, these tier lists bring the worst out of people. I feel like the comment sections on these are sometimes ruthless. Either way, if you're really toxic, I'm probably not going to respond to you. So if you have a different opinion, just state it in kind of a nicer way, please. But let me show you my tier list from last season. So I'm going to pop it up on the screen here. So as you can see, some things are going to change a lot. I think a lot of the operators I put under useless should be moved up. Most of the bottom part of the tier list is what I'd move. The top part is actually pretty good, or I think is pretty good. So my opinion on these have somewhat changed, but we're going to go in that same order as we did last time, work our way in. And then we're going to start off with Ying, where I put her as broken last season, but I think actually she is more so a good situationally pick, or even a rare pick as that, because the buff is what made me put her at broken whenever she had too many Candelas. But now it's kind of just like, you know, it's good. It's good situationally to burn ADS, but there's way better operators to bring in most situations. So I'm actually going to put her under rare pick because in all honesty, she is pretty rarely picked. Blackbeard, I want to put exactly where he was. He was in a rare pick, and I think he is still a rare pick. He's not as good as people make him out to be. He's really good at windows, but other than that, I mean, his head shows most of the time. If you guys didn't know that, if you're not crouching, his head is showing, and it only takes a few bullets to even get through his shield. So very good at window play. He's very good whenever you're playing on windows, but other than that, he's not good at really anything else. As for Doc and Rook, I'm going to put these both in at the same time. I think I'm going to put them at the same exact rank this time. I put Doc here and Rook here last time. Now honestly, they're both very similar. They both have the same ACOG. They're the two operators that are really the go-tos for spawn kills, but Rook does. Everyone did have a point there. Rook helps the whole team, while Doc usually just helps himself. They're both good situationally, and that situation is usually when you're trying to spawn peek. Other than that, it's nice to have Doc the ability to revive from far and heal teammates, and Rook save a few bullets from the teammates, but these aren't operators that you should pick every single round in and round out. When I made the previous tier list, I really didn't use Alibi much, but I've started to use her a lot since then, and I think she's actually pretty good, but it is situational. Not every site is meant for Alibi. Not every single round you should be playing Alibi, but it is a good operator and is a situational operator. Same thing for Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi's weapons aren't good at all, really. I just don't. It's not my cup of tea, the DMR and stuff. And that's how I rated her last time with putting her as a rare. But actually, that gadget is very overpowered and it's very annoying. It's really good at clearing out roamers. Same thing with Lion. Honestly, I'm going to move Lion up here, right here as well. I put Lion here last time and I still stand by that because these two operators together can absolutely clear out any roamers. This is like the roam clearing god squad. So Thatcher, he's going right back to where he was. He is a must pick. He is the best support player in the game. He can get bandits, he can get Kates, so that's good for getting the walls. But he's also good in any other situation, even when you don't need walls, because the 20-second meta, you're going to want to try to destroy as many traps and stuff as you possibly can. So definitely a must pick. That's why he's banned so often. If you look at the pick and ban charts, he is banned quite a lot. Now I see this potentially changing with the new season, as in we're going to be able to do a lot of things with the new Sam Fisher character, as he is going to be able to go through destructible walls and be able to like tase the bandits and other gadgets. So that might lower Thatcher's ban rate, hopefully, but for now he's still a must pick. Cabateo I put in meta operator last time. Now he is good, really good in competitive play, but as for a ranked, that's kind of how I'm judging this. I can't really switch back and forth. As for a ranked type game, it's pretty situational, but he is very good in that situation. If you know how to use Cabateo and actually use his gadget the correct way, then you're going to be set. The fire can get so many kills, or at least flush people out of where you want to be attacking from. Very good for post plant as well. Fire off ways that they could get to you, smoke plant, everything like that. Overall, he's good operator, 3 speed, good weapon. So he's going to be in good situation, but I don't want to put him in meta. I'm not going to be putting everyone in meta like I did last time. But I am going to move Mira from good to meta because she is very good. I kind of undervalued her in the last tier list I did. I put her as good situationally. Yeah, it is situational as in the site that you pick. But anytime the site is there, she's a meta operator. She doesn't really change because she's going to be good on every single site. There's no real way to nerf her. So she's always going to be good. And that's why I'm going to put her under meta this time. Now I'm going to skip past Buck for now, but I kind of want to go into Glaz, which is useless. He's a very useless operator. Kind of disappointing, honestly. They need to find a balance between him and how good he used to be. He used to be so overpowered right when the thermal sight came out, but they need to find a balance, or they're just going to keep him like this and make him very little played. He needs a buff. I think a good buff for him would be to add a SMG. What's interesting about that is he would have the sniper, like kind of how Callie's loadout is. She has a sniper and then she has the SMG9, which is 2 good guns. The sniper's good, but the SMG11 is even better. Now what they also could do is up the sniper damage a little bit. I feel like Glaz's sniper does not hit as hard as a sniper should. Like Callie's sniper is a 1-hit down, and that's kind of seems more reasonable. While Glaz, it sometimes takes a few bullets just to get the enemy down, which is kind of insane. And Clash is broken, but still very useless. I don't want everyone to have the impression that Clash is super overpowered, but she is good, very good actually, if in the right hands. But for the most like average player, don't ever pick Clash. You're not going to be able to really rock it unless if you're in a solid 5 stack. So for the most people, it's useless, and otherwise it would be rare situationally. I still don't like that there is a shield. Honestly, I would love to put it here, but according to my last tier list and everyone's comments, that is not where she belongs. As for Montaigne, he is going to be going into good. That's where he was. No, he was actually in situational or rare last time, but he is good situationally. Post plant, there's nothing that could beat a Monty. As long as your Monty just sits there and doesn't be aggressive, he could literally just sit on the diffuser and they can't do anything about it, which is super annoying. It's also really good just for any type of support players that want to be able to get the plants down. It's not the funnest operator to play, but it's definitely a great operator. Now I saved these ones all for this because I wanted to get them together, because all of these operators are really, in my opinion, they are all must picks. So Buck and Maestro, why are these must picks? Well, they're the same as they were last time, but Maestro is absolutely a beast. 80 plus bullets, bulletproof camera that can tase people, get good for post plant, and also has pretty good intel. Same reason why Echo's up here. The intel is really, really good for Echo. Unfortunately, Echo is just overbanned in most situations, but that leaves you with Maestro, which is honestly just as good as Echo and actually has a better weapon than Echo. As for Buck, while he doesn't have the frags anymore, he is still just as good. Anytime there is a site with below or above, he's kind of the safe pick because he can either shoot down or shoot up, while Sledge can only shoot down. That's why personally I think Sledge is a little bit worse than Buck in my opinion. But Buck is still the meta. If you know how to control the C8, this is the operator you should be playing round in and round out. Now, the only operator I didn't cover is Maverick. He's going to be good forever. He's a meta operator. I don't know how this new hard breach gadget is going to affect him or the other hard breachers for that matter, but I'm hoping it doesn't really do too much because I really enjoy how Maverick plays. He has a pretty decent weapon. The M4 is pretty good, but he also has the frag grenades, which is awesome. Nomad, I previously put under must pick, but I think she's more of a meta operator. I think she's always really going to be good for anyone trying to play that support role while still having a good gun and a good loadout and good speed speed and everything like that. Nomad by far is the best operator for solo queuing, and I want you to know why, because whenever you're solo queuing, you can't rely on anyone. Unfortunately, that's usually how it goes, unless if your team's just really god tier, but usually that's not how it is. And you're going to need someone to watch your flanks and other things like that. So you're going to want a Nomad because you can watch flanks for you. The air jabs are great for watching the flanks. Honestly, there's no one that does it better. Gridlock is good at watching flanks and stuff, but nothing makes as much sound as Nomad, and Nomad's loadout, in my opinion, is better than Gridlock. Valkyrie is going to stay up in her meta position. She's going to be good unless if they do something to her black eye camera. She's always going to be good because intel is everything in Siege, as you guys know. So that is why she's a meta operator. Frost is a rare pick, not that good of an operator. I like the recoil pattern actually on her gun, but other than that, the Frost traps are pretty useless, and I think they're always going to be pretty useless. Very rare pick, but if you do play a very aggressive team, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to bring Frost. I want Twitch to go right back into rare as well. Her Twitch drone is just not what it used to be, and it only does 1 damage to people, which is kind of just a meme at that point. The only thing Twitch has going for her in the meta is that she has the F2. That's really all there is to Twitch. Gridlock is a good pick for any support players on real teams, but for a ranked perspective, it's pretty much a rare pick. You can see that with the pick charts. There's a good reason why Gridlock is so lowly picked, and that's because Nomad is just that much better at watching the flank than Gridlock. Gridlock is pretty good for post plant, I'll give her that, but she's really slow, she's really sluggish, and that's why really people love Nomad a lot more than Gridlock, and I think overall she's a pretty rare pick. Not useless, but definitely rare. Pulse is good situationally. That's where he was last time, and that's where he's going to stay because it makes a lot of sense why he's at the rank that he's at. He's good on sites that are very specific to what his playstyle is. It's usually to either C4 from inside the site up and try to get people on hatches. For example, you can think of Clubhouse and Kitchen. That is a very easy place to play Pulse. Basically any other site where you could play underneath, but it is situational and he's very good in those situations. Tachanka, boys, we're getting the rework we deserve, but for now, I'm just going to keep him under the needs rework broken kind of category. I'll give you one thing though, he is actually pretty good at spawn killing. If you want to give one thing to Tachanka in its current state, very good at spawn killing, especially in lower ranks. Zofia is the best operator for the entry / support role, which is actually a pretty versatile role. Now, the reason she is better than Ashe is because she has the impact grenades and concussions all of her out of her impact launcher, and she also has the ACOG and angled grip on her main gun, which is very good. As for entry fragging though, I would put Ashe in meta. She's always going to be good. She's always going to be picked a lot because of her speed. Really, she's the best entry fragger really. But overall, I think as a well-rounded operator that should be picked basically every single round, Zofia should be picked a lot more than Ashe. Usually in Pro League, even if you watch that, Zofia's picked a ton. And now for all of my entry denial, I'm going to put these all together. So we have Cade. Cade is actually going to be under good situationally. I'm going to bring Mute and Bandit both under meta. Now, the reason I put Cade under good situationally is, one, you can't Bandit trick. Obviously, it's Cade, but Kaid is really, really, really good for hatches. Now, that is something that Bandit can't do, but Bandit is really a meta operator for now. Let me emphasize that for now, because we don't know how this new hard breach gadget is going to affect the game. This hard breach gadget could potentially screw up Bandit tricking all in all, and maybe Cade will be a better idea because it could be placed higher up on walls and stuff like that. But for now, Kaid's really only better at getting hatches because Bandit can't do it. As for walls, you can't really trick. It's very difficult to trick, and that's why I put him under good situationally. As for Mute, well, he is kind of a hard breach denial. He's more so of a intel denial, which is the reason I like him a lot. There's never really a bad time to play Mute. He's always good at intel denial. There's never a bad time where you can just block people's droning. That's obviously a good thing at all times. And just as an added benefit, he can do some hard breach denial if you so choose to. Now, as for my hard breaching boys, now might change next season. It's kind of interesting. We're going to see a huge shift in how the game is played with the new hard breach device. So for now, at this exact time, he is a meta operator. Thermite is, and I believe Ace is as well. Ace is the most versatile out of all of them because the good gun can get hatches or walls and has 3 of his charges, which open up a pretty decent sized hole. As for Hibana, she was meta last season, but I think she's good situationally now. Hibana is really, really, really good at hatches, but as for walls, Ace and Thermite both bring better firepower to that. Both have a little bit more controllable weapons. AK-12 is the best weapon overall. Thermite's gun is pretty good. And then Hibana's gun has a really low mag capacity at 21, and it also has a ridiculous recoil. So Hibana for hatches, Ace and Thermite both for walls. That is definitely how I would emphasize this, but the reason why I don't have her as meta is because it's really only good for hatches. There's never a time where Hibana is better than Ace or Thermite for getting major walls. So if you know that they're going to be going in a floor where you're going to have to get hatches, then maybe that's a good time to pick Hibana. But other than that, Ace is probably the way to go if you are unsure. I'm going to keep Ella in good situationally because she is really good in certain situations if you know how to play her correctly. That's really every operator though. If you can play the operator correctly, you can make any operator good. Don't get me wrong, I really do like Ella, but both of those guns are really close range. You have the shotgun and you have the SMG, which is absolutely the most crazy recoil weapon in the game. I've learned to kind of control it, but still it's a little bit absurd. Shotgun's never a bad option, but you do have to play pretty aggressively if you do that. Sledge will be a meta operator until the day he dies. The one thing that he has that Buck is lacking is the frag grenades. He also has a pretty controllable weapon with the L85. As well as that, he has the SMG-11 backup, but the only thing that puts Buck ahead of him in my books is that he could go vertical. Some people say you could just do the SMG-11 shotgun combo with Sledge, but I just disagree. That's nothing like Buck's skeleton keys. The skeleton key is actually meant for penetrating through surfaces, while the shotgun really doesn't do a good job. It creates a kind of a smaller hole. So that's my reasoning behind that. And the SMG-11 is pretty tough to control. So Castle, I like him as a rare pick. Definitely very few sites or objectives where you actually kind of want a Castle. He is useful in those, but there's just a lot of counters since most teams will run either a Sledge, a Zofia, an Ash. One of those are usually ran every single time, so they can just destroy your castles really fast. One of the operators I would like to see get a little bit of a rework would be Castle. Not a complete rework, but I would like to see something change, you know, just to make Castle more of a viable operator on more sites. It probably starts with buffing up the UMP. That gun is absolutely trash for damage. So that's where I would start. We'll see what kind of scope he gets in the next season. If he gets like a 2x, then maybe that could buff him up a little bit. So I'm sorry if I'm not explaining these as well as I usually do in these tier lists. But as for Vigil, I think he's still a must pick. Probably the best roamer still. The ability is just way too good to pass up if you're trying to roam, and the weapons, the K1A is very good. So best roamer in my books is Vigil. Now Jaeger is a meta operator because he's no longer really overpowered. He's just really good because his gadget is super duper useful. Same thing with Wumai, really. I like to put these two together in most situations. They both do the same job, but they both do it a little bit differently. Wumai has the magnet system where it kind of just brings the nades to it or the flashbangs to it, while Jaeger just absolutely incinerates them. They both have their place, but for most people, Jaeger is easier to use, more user-friendly, because all you have to do is just put it down and it does the work for you. While I had him at must pick prior to this season, I think he is a meta operator. There's actually going to be a lot of meta operators because a lot of operators fit perfectly into any meta we play. Smoke is just being one of those. The Smoke SMG-11 combo is super powerful if you know how to control the SMG-11, of course. If you don't, then I would really work on your SMG-11 play, because think about it. We have Smoke, who has the SMG-11, Sledge, and you have Mute, who also has the SMG-11. So you have 3 operators that are all very good operators, as you can see, that have the SMG-11. So that's something you should be working on if you do enjoy playing any of these operators. Mozzie, honestly, it's really unfortunate that he lost the shotgun. I think at this point, he's a rare pick. If they were going to take away his ability to kind of create rotation holes, honestly, they should have upped his speed to a 3-speed. It would kind of make sense. They really built him for roaming and being able to cut off intel by having the Mozzie pest things to be able to catch the drones. So it would make sense for him to be an all-out roamer and just make him a 3-speed at this point, because he did take away his super shorty. Use, honestly, is still pretty useless. It is a very, very situational type operator at this point, and there's not really a super safe time to pick them unless if you know that they're going to be going on a site where you can come from above and place your cluster charges. Even at that, though, the likelihood of getting a kill is very slim. The only thing it's even useful for is destroying gadgets and stuff like that. I made a whole video about fuse rework that I hope happens, so if you want to see that, then go ahead and check that out, but I'm not going to talk too much about it on this this one. I'm just going to hop into the next operator, which is Blitz, who's also honestly on the verge of broken. I put him in useless last time, but I'm actually just going to throw him in broken because the flash is stupid if you actually get flashed by him. It is one of the most frustrating things, and there's only one counter to it, and it is Warden. And Warden and Blitz are the only counters to each other, right? So both those operators really are useless. Blitz is more so annoying than useless. Pretty easy to kill, but I just don't like the concept of the flash. I think I would honestly like Blitz better if it was more of like a concussion effect rather than a blinding effect. Now since we're talking about that, I do want to put Warden under useless right now. There's only one counter, or only one thing he counters, and that is really flashes and stuff, so Blitz. So it's at the point where it's like, why would I ever bring a Warden instead of just bringing something that destroys the flashes with a Jaeger? So really, truly, the only counter of Warden in this current meta is Blitz. Now, in previous metas, when everyone was just spamming Ying and Blitz, then yeah, maybe he would be a good situational, but nah, I mean, he's useless. Last time in the previous tier list, I put Finka in useless. I disagree greatly with myself, but I don't disagree that much. I think she is a really rare pick overall, but she isn't useless. Yes, everyone liked to point out that she can revive people from afar. That is very situational. First of all, you're never really going to get a downed enemy. You're never really going to get a downed teammate, rather. And even if you do, what is the likelihood of them not finishing that teammate before you hit your Finka boost and get her up? Other than that though, Finka does kind of annoy me sometimes because whenever you are trying to like shoot someone and you get boosted, it kind of screws up your recoil because you're trying to control it in a specific way, and when that recoil gets reduced greatly, well, that really does mess you up. IQ, I had her as meta. I'm actually going to put her up in must pick for now. In this meta, it's super important to know where all the gadgets are and stuff, so IQ is pretty important, as well as you're able to see the yokai drones, which is actually a huge thing for IQ. You also can see any player that's on her drone or on her cams or anything like that. Overall, she's super good in this current state. As well as that, you also have the G8A1, which is in great need of a nerf. Cav is a rare pick. I know a lot of people disagree with that, especially if they're in the lower rank. I always go over the same thing with Cav, and is that if there is a actual structured team going against you, they will destroy you. It's not like you're not going to get kills. You're still going to get kills because you're silent, but you're never going to get interrogations. And if that's the thing that Cav's actual ability is, why not go with an operator that's more of a well-rounded operator such as Vigil, right? And in higher ranks, it's harder to get interrogations because a lot of people like to travel together, drone with each other, and actually drone stuff out. While in lower ranks, Cav is probably one of the best because, well, no one really knows how to drone. Legion fits in perfectly with the meta operator, and even though that nerf did somewhat hurt Legion, and I think it actually did hurt Legion quite a bit, from a trap aspect of the game and the 20-second meta of the game, still very good. Fits into pretty much every meta as long as he's not nerfed. So as long as he's not further nerfed, I think he'll stay in the meta. Also has one of the most broken guns in the game, which is the T5 SMG. Now Capcan also does fit into the trap meta, but I don't think he per se is a meta operator. The thing with Capcan is, first of all, his gun isn't really the best, doesn't really hit the hardest, kind of a slower operator, not as good as a gun as Legion, so that's really the thing setting him back. Another thing is his gadget's really easy to destroy, while Legion, on the other hand, his gadget's invisible. That's really sets these two apart in my opinion. And I mean, Capcan only does 50 damage now instead of like 100 how he used to do whenever he had the laser sight thing. So Capcan's good in situations, especially against aggressive teams, but he's not always good, while Legion can be pretty much always good. Jackal is a must pick for anyone. This is another operator that falls perfectly in with roam clearing. Some people do misplay Jackal. They track someone and then just sprint at them, and that actually baits them and screws them. But Jackal is so annoying to play with. I honestly would hope that he would get a nerf sometime soon. Maybe limit the times of scans that he has or something along those lines. Honestly, he maybe should just only have one scan. That could be a way to fix him. His ban rate is through the roof, and that's for a reason. Super annoying to be Jackal tracked. Nook is an operator that is downplayed quite a lot, but not so much useless. I think she is rare, and that rare case is usually when you're gonna want to rush or something along those lines. Nook is really good for rushing because you come in silently, you can't be seen by cameras and stuff like that. That's kind of a big deal. But Nook, for the most part, should be kept on the shelf. You shouldn't play her that much, and really is a rare pick no matter how you look at it. Amaru, however, was useless, but after that buff that was added to her. I think she is a rare pick, and that's usually for rushes and stuff. And I think a lot of people misuse her and use her to try to like repel straight into sight in 0 seconds. But instead, she's really good at going underneath and actually going through hatches. That's a big thing with Amaru that a lot of people don't do. Most people like to just get into sight in under 3 seconds and get killed. And that's the main problem with Amaru. But either way, it's a rare pick. There needs to be a good hatch. There needs to be a good strategy in place. Does have the G8 though. And it was pretty wild. A few of these operators like Oryx and all these operators, I did make predictions on every single one of their buffs and they all were right. I don't know what was happening, but I'm not going to make any predictions here because I don't want to jinx myself. But anyways, let's go to Kali. I put her as useless last time. She's not useless. I've grown to like her ever since she got a new backup weapon. New backup weapon's a lot easier to control, and with Thatcher being banned so much, she's actually a pretty good pick, but never is over Thatcher, but good situationally because basically in every situation, Thatcher is banned. Goyu is the absolute bomb when it comes down to trying to hold the objective. Still going to stay in the good situationally. Goyu can absolutely disrupt an area for sure. So pick Goyu if you want to be able to completely cut off a part of the map. Oryx, even after the buff that we did predict, he is still definitely not a good operator by any means. Everyone thinks he is a good roamer, but whenever you use the dash ability, you can hear him from literally outer space. So it's just, there's never a good time to play Oryx in this current state. Only time I would ever pick him is if I'm trying to do like a run out to the spawn type thing because you do have the dash. Yana, I want to keep in good situationally. While she is very rarely picked, she's very good. Has 2 weapons that are pretty decent and unlimited drones, which is a big deal. The best way to play Yana though is to play with teammates, have your teammates follow you up and bait your Yana. But that's just the best way to play Yana. Definitely a good operator and definitely not played enough. Melusi came into the game and got nerfed immediately, literally immediately. Still has the T5. I think she kind of falls in the same category as Legion. Both have the T5, both have good gadgets that are super annoying. Not going to say either of them are overpowered, but maybe fixing the T5 SMG is a good way to start just by making these guys a little less powerful and a little less annoying. But that's all. This is the tier list for Steel Wave. Let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you disagree with. Don't be toxic in the comment section. If you do, I will ban you from the channel. And don't use profanity to get your point across. Everything is all good, I promise. Tier lists get the most dislikes for a reason because people just do not agree with everything you say. They never will. So just remember that. If you guys are stating your opinion and someone comes toxic at you, don't worry about it. Everything is different in every single rank. So just remember that. The rank I'm playing in, which is Plat and PC, is a lot different than Champ on Xbox, or even think about like Coppers on PC. They're going to be thinking that Cav is the best. They're going to be thinking Blackbeard's the best. They're going to be thinking Fuse is the best even. You know, there's operators that aren't really that good in ranks that you might be in. They might be absolutely god tier in bronze, silver, stuff like that. So let me know how you feel about this tier list. Let me know if you want to see another tier list once the new season come out, or I can wait till around this time in the next season. Either way, I'll do it no matter what. Just let me know when you want to see it. And with that, guys, this is my tier list, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Don't wanna complicate ya.